Hi, my name is Lynn Twist. I'm one of the co-founders of the Pacha Mama Alliance, and I'm really thrilled to welcome you to the Game Changer Intensive. I just want to say what a powerful course this is and how critical it is right now to change the game. You know, this game that we're all caught in, these structures and systems that make no sense to us, that actually aren't logical even, that have us trapped in a way that we can't fulfill our dream for a thriving, just, and sustainable way of life. They need to be changed. We need to address ourselves to them. And that's what the Game Changer Intensive is all about. Really looking at how do we change the game? Where are there acupressure points that if we pick those, we can change the whole gestalt of the game that we're caught in? I've learned over 40 years of being an activist, or actually a pro-activist, someone who's working for something rather than against, that the story we tell ourselves or the conversation we're living in is actually where we live. We think we live in the world. We think we live in our lives. We think we live in our houses. We think we live in our families. We think we live in our companies. But no, we actually live in the story we tell about the world, the conversation we have about our lives, the story we tell about our family, the conversation we have about our life. And we have absolute omnipotence over that. We may not have power over the circumstances that we think we have, but we have absolute power over the story we tell about the circumstances, over the conversation we have about our lives. That's where we have power. And we're going to address ourselves to that in this intensive, because that's where you and I can really change not only the game, but can change our lives and the world we perceive we're living in. It's not Pollyanna. It's not positive thinking. It's actually the access to power so that we can behave and act in a way that we stay competent, effective, powerful, and know who we are. We live in a trance, actually. We call it in the Pacha Mama Alliance, in the Awakening the Dreamer Symposium, the dream of the modern world. And I've come to see in the work creating the Awakening the Dreamer Symposium and delivering it myself many, many times, that the dream of the modern world is actually a whole network of stories and conversations that disempower us and keep us numb and in a trance. And we can change that. This is the time in history where we really can see that we can author, we can source, we can create the story for our time that empowers us to address the big issues that face us. Rather than being numb to them, rather than being in a trance about them, rather than being in total denial about what's going on, we can address ourselves to it by actually looking at the conversation we're living in, looking at the story we're telling ourselves, looking at what our beliefs and ideals and conversations are that shape the way we perceive the world. That's where we have power. But the story we've told ourselves is that we're victims of something, that it's all happening to us, that global warming and climate change is beyond our control. And when we relate to it that way, we're relating to a story that disempowers us, that stops us from taking action, that makes us feel impotent, that keeps us numb. But when we wake up to the fact that we can change that conversation in a way that we can author the world we want, everything changes. That's actually the work of the Pacha Mama Alliance in many ways. We generate possibility when there isn't any. That's what Martin Luther King did. He said, find a way where there's no way. What kind of courage does that take? It takes the courage to recognize that you're living in a conversation. You're living in a story. And that story is something that you have the power and the skills to change. And that's very much what this intensive is all about. It's an intensive training in not only transforming the story, but transforming your relationship with the world through the conversation you're willing to generate, the conversation you're committed to listening to, the conversation you're committed to understanding, and the conversation you're committed to having as the world you live in.